Hello everyone, how are you today? Right now I will continue our course about PHP. Okay, we are now in the week 10 in our web design and programming class. And for this week 10, I will give a topic about form processing and file upload. So this is a part of the PHP. Before we have learned about PHP from the basic, like how about to make variable, how to make function, or how to store your value or variable in an array. So for today, we get more advanced from before. And right now, we will learn how to process our form and how to do with the file. So the aims for today is understand the concept of form and file. And the second is able to implement form processing and file upload using PHP. Okay, the first is about form. I think all of you have to know about form. Form is one of the HTML element. Like if you want to make input to your system, of course you need a form before, so user can input the value or can input something, and then the PHP in our case will get the value or process the form. Actually, before we have learned about JavaScript, and JavaScript be able to process our form too. But for JavaScript is a client side programming language. So if you need something like database, it cannot work. So it cannot work with only JavaScript. So we need server side language. This is PHP. Okay. We need like for registration, for example, or maybe login. So in our system, it must be there is at least one form if you want to make dynamic website or you want to make a system that interactive with the user. Form possible with integration of several technologies like the list here. The first is HTML, because to make a form element, you need HTML. And then you also need CSS, right? CSS to make your form look better and it's easier for user to use because the appearance will be neither or tedious. And the JavaScript, we can also use this to form validation, although we also can using PHP to form validation too. And for the side languages, we are using PHP to process our data. So next, in our next week course, we will learn how to send our data into database. Okay, but for today we just learn about how to get the value in the form to process and to get the value only, not to send to our database. Okay, so this is the form structure. Usually form structure uh, not usually. I think it always been have an input element inside it. So in HTML, for the form element, we need to using tag form. Don't forget, if we have opening tag, we also need to have closing tag. So you can see here. Okay, you can see here. We have form here. And here, this is the form. And inside the form, in here, we can adding input. So input, we take it here. This is the input. What kind of input that we can put into the or inside the form text? So there are many kind of input element. You already learned that too in our course in the previous week. Uh, there is text element. Okay, text element is the most general for use because it can be received input in the form of text or string. Okay, the default character is 20 characters. So you see in this image or in this picture we have name. You can see this is the text. Okay, this is the text. And then we have sex column. It have this kind of type. If you see here, we can choose only one, male or female, because we just can use only one. This is a radio button. So a radio button is an element that we use to enter option. Just one option. For radio button, uh, maybe this is a little bit different with the input text because the text is used is not input but radio, I think. And next is the eye color here. You can see this is a drop down. If we have drop down, we can only choose one, two, but usually for drop down we have more option. For example, this eye color may be green, blue, or brown, black, and other. Not like sex, just two kind, but for eye color we have many options. So if we have many options, we can using I not text box. I think this is drop down, but it's not list here. So for drop down, usually the tag for using is uh, select, and inside the select we also have option. Okay, and for the next, this is we can using check like this. For check, we can check more than one. Okay, so if we can see, we can check more than one. We can using text box more than one option. Okay, and here we have pick input. Usually, if we need to describe or writing more, we can using text area, and the tag is text area usually, not input like this. Like this. So sometimes we are using tag input and put the type like text or maybe number, email, or any other. But sometimes we can using the different tag like select, radio, or text area. Okay. Next. Then this is form handling. So to can process our form, we need two attributes that we must add in our form tag. The first is action attribute and the second is method attribute. What is action? So action must be filled with the PHP page address used to process the form data. So usually in the action attribute, we don't put HTML file because HTML file cannot process our form. So it must be PHP file because the PHP is the one who can process our form. Okay. And the second is method. I think you have learned about method before. We have two kinds of method. The first is post and the second is get. Okay, what difference? Okay, this is you can see here we have post and get. Usually, if we are using post, our our data won't be sent to URL. So in our URL, just the uh, clean URL or the path only. But if we are using get, our data will be shown in the URL. So you can see clearly what the data that you have input in your form. Okay. And for the post, because we don't write it in our URL, so it must be more secure. So for something like password, uh, or maybe something you need other doesn't know about it, you can using post because it will be dangerous is if someone knowing your password in your URL, and it may more chance to get hacked, of course. And if you need to test for purpose for testing, for example, you can using get. So you can see is the value that you have input have been processed or not by using get, or the value is already uh, correct or not. Okay, it's better for insecure data like query string in Google because query string is not important or we don't need security. You can using get. Okay, and the other is because if we put URL, it can be long. So for something like describe like this, we don't need to using post because it will be make your URL so long. Okay. Okay, so this is the example. Uh, for you form handling, we must have like this, the form first. So the form can be in HTML or it can be also in PHP. I mean this is about the format of the file. So format of the file of your form can be .html or it can be .php. And here inside the form tag we can adding attribute action, and action we can write the file that will process our form. For example, this is welcome.php, so of course this welcome.php will be process our input in this form. And we are using method post. So if we are using method post, our data won't be shown in the URL. And don't forget to add input type submit. So as you see, input type submit actually is a button, but you can say it's button only, but actually this is also input because if we doesn't have this input type submit, we cannot send our data. So this is also input type. Okay, so this is the PHP. So we must have two files to processing form in PHP. The first is file to make the form and the second is file to process. This is the example. Actually, it also have HTML tag, but inside here, we also have PHP tag to process. Okay, you see here, we have $_post. Okay, it we are using this if we are using method post. Okay, so if we are using method post, we must use dollar underscore post like this, and the post is all in the capitalized. Okay, inside here we add the square brace, and inside the quotation we write the name of the input. You see here, the name here is also name, and the second, the name is email. So to get the value from the first, we put the name, and the second, we put email. Okay, I also will give you the example. This is an example or the simple form. So this form just have input username and email here, and the type is like this. And for username have name username, and for email has name email. Okay, and you see here we have postform.php. So this postform.php is the file that will process our input form. Okay, you see here our post form has like this. Here we are using dollar underscore post. Okay, I will try to use this form one.html. So for this case, the form is in HTML. Okay, this. For example, I put my name and my email, and I click submit. Okay, so this is from the post form, from the PHP file that process our form. You can see here in the URL, there's nothing like the data. So this just the URL. Okay. And the difference is for the second form that I have here. We'll close it first. Okay, we are using method get, and the action or the file that will process, the name is getForm.php. Okay, so actually it is similar, it is same with the form before. The difference just the action and the method. And this is the file to process. You can ignore the one that I give the comment here. So you can see these two line. Okay, these two line different is to get the value from the post get. We need dollar underscore get, not like the one previous is dollar underscore post. For this, we are using dollar underscore get. And inside this square brace, we put the name of the input, which is username and email. Okay, let's run this. This is the form2, form2.html. Okay, I also will put my name and my email, and I submit it. Okay, the display here actually nothing different, but if you see from the URL here, you can see the username and the value, also the email and the value. Okay, this is the difference from boss and get method. Okay, Next, I will using another topics. I'm sorry. Okay, like you see here, I have something that I comment. Next, I will explain to you what is this. Okay, let's back to our presentation. Okay, so this is about form validation. And we have learned about it before using JavaScript, but for now, we will learn how to validate our form using PHP. So, like you know before, that when we put the value into our form, it can be in the wrong format or it can be not the correct value. We can check that or we can know that using form validation. The most simple one is using variable isset. Okay, isset. So what is isset? Isset is an PHP function. It's a default function. So we just need to call it to using it. Okay. Set is used to validate whether a form element is defined or predefined. So to check the form element. For example, if you okay, I will give the example from this. I will remove the comment here. Okay, so actually we can access getForm.php without access the form first. So we will access the file to process the form without inputting input into the form, for example, like this. Okay, because we not input anything from the form, so this form is not defined. You see here, the value if is true if the variable has been defined or if the form element is not defined. Okay, because it's not defined, because I directly access the processing file, so it will be showing you must access this page for from form 2. Okay, so if it said or if we uh, access it from the form, it will be showing or displaying your username and email address like we tried before. But if you access it directly from the getform.php, it will be showing you must access this page from form 2. Okay, so this is the ESET function. Okay, for next, it's form validation. So what is form validation? Okay, I'm sorry. The next is the another form or form validation, which is form required. It's also the simplest one because it's just to check if the value has been filled or not, or if our input element has value or not. Okay, to check or to give the form required function, we just need to write empty function like this. Okay, so empty function also the default function from PHP. We can write empty to check if the input has been filled or not. Okay, this is the example. Okay, if is set is like this, we are using is set, but for empty, we just need to check for the input. So empty first and then the name of the input. It depends if you are using post, so you are using $_post. If you are using get, you can write $_get. Okay, something like this. This also the example. I think here. Okay, so this is example to check if your input empty or not. This is the PHP. Why? Because in the form, we also check it's empty or not before in here. Okay. And then we can also give the error message like this. You can try it by yourself because it's written to in the job sheet. Okay, maybe I will give a brief explanation. Okay, in our form, we will give the error message. So this error message will be set when there is something happen or there is something wrong with our form. For example, if error variable not set, we also give the our value here. It will be showing this message. And if error name empty, it will be show this. If okay, how to know the error? So to know the error, we check the form first. So this is the part to check the form. This is using ESET so to know it's this has been input or access from the uh, form file. Okay, okay, like this, and we will input something in here, and we will send this to process form 3. So the process form 3 is also to check ESET again and to check the empty in here. If this empty or it is set, it will send the value like this. If it's a success, I think, and if it's empty, it will be showing name empty. For the email, will be showing email empty, and if success will be like this. Okay, I will try it too. Sorry, okay, like this. Okay, so it's success, but for example, I will delete the email. It will be showing like this. If I delete the name, okay. So if I delete it, it won't be redirect to process file, but it will be still in the form file. Next, we can also adding validation format. For example, for email validation and URL validation. But for doing this, like URL validation, we need a function named match. So match is a function can be used for regular expression manipulation. What is regular express manipulation? So in regex or regular expression, we can define what the format that we will receive. So it must be matched with the format. Okay. If if it's not matched with the format, it 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 can showing the error message. Okay, but for the email, PHP has a special function or default function using filter file. So using filter file, we don't need to write regex or regular expression, but we just need to call this function. Okay. So this is the example using regex, using match. You see here, we will check the name, and the name must be in alphabetical, so it cannot be number, for example, or it cannot be in the special character because it word for the name or using that kind of character. So this is to check it. It's not match. Okay, you can read it as if not because we have this mark break match, so it's not match with this regular expression. So to write the regular expression, we must start with this mark. I don't know what is name of this mark, and the dollar for the n. Okay, so the start is this, and the n is the dollar. And the regular expression, we can put it inside the brace, uh, square brace like this. Because we need just alphabetical. Alphabetical is from A until Z. So we need to write it here, and we need to write it in capital or uppercase or small case. Okay, so like this. If it's not matched, it will be showing invalid name. Okay. So this is also the example. If the username must be in alphabetical format, but just in the first character. So for in just the first character, we just need to make the opening or start of the string only. But for the closing mark or the dollar, we don't need to write this because it's just for the first only. Okay, so I will also give the example. Actually, it is same with the we have before. Okay, this is the form, and we just add something. For name invalid and email invalid is it not suitable with the format that we want. Okay, so this is the processing form. In the processing form, we check the name is empty first, and then we check if the name is matched with our format. This is alphabetical and the space. You can see here there is space here. And for the checking the email, we just need to using the filter for function. And inside here, we just need to write the name of the input, email here. Email is the input from the email input. And for email, we need to add something, which is the filter validate email. Don't forget to add this mark. So if not suitable with this mark, we will showing the error. Okay. Okay, so this is the example. For example, I emptied. Okay, so it showing with must be filled. And for example, I give this like this fill name with alphabet and space only. So I will put something correct. And then for the email, for example, I just put something like this. It's not in the email format. It will be showing not suitable email format. So I will put the right email format this, and then it will be processed from the processing form file. Okay, so that's about the form and how to process the form and adding the validation. Next, I will explain to you about the file. Okay, so file is one of the important part too in our system. For example, usually for the system we have our profile, and in the profile usually we also have the profile picture. So you need to upload your file, your picture, and save it in the project. For the another example, maybe in our learning system, you need to submit your assignment. So you need upload the PDF file or maybe Word file. So uh, you must also upload something. Okay, so we also need to know how to upload the file or and how to read the file, how to process the file. Okay, so in this part we will try or we will learn about that. Okay, so how to processing our file, we can call it with file handling. It's important part of a web application. Okay, for the first, we not upload first, but we will learn about how to read the file. Okay, so to read the file, for example, text file or maybe Excel format or maybe in the Word format or PDF. To write it, we need three steps. Okay, three steps. The first step is to open the file using PHP default function, which is fopen. And after opening it, we need to read, right? Okay, to read, we need to evaluate function for it. Evaluate. After we open and we read, for example, we need to open or read another file. We must close the first file. So we need to using function that can be closed the file, which is fclose. Okay, so this is the example. We open the file first using fopen, and this is the name of the file. Okay, the name of the file. For example, we are using the simple one, the txt file, and then we are using R here. So what is R? Maybe I will open. So actually, in a fopen, we have many methods. Okay, we have many methods or parameter or mode. You can see here there's mode. There is R for reading only, R plus for reading and writing, W for writing only, there is also A and X. This is depend on your necessary, okay? What you need, because we just need to read only, so we are using R, okay? And if there is something error, we can showing like this, so we can open the file. After we open, we need to read. So to read, we can call this variable that save the file that we have opened. Okay, and then we also can write the file size or maybe the length of the character. Okay, I will give you example. I make the test file first, and then here in here, for example, I just write 5. What is 5? 5 is the length of the character. Okay, so if will be open this in Indonesia, this tools, because from the text we just get the 5 character. For example, I will get more character, for example 10. Okay, if I refresh it, it will be adding into 10 characters. Okay, so how to get all of the data? To get all of the data, we can using this file size and the file. Okay, so if we are using file size, it will be get all of the file. Okay, this example. Okay, it will be get all of the file. Okay, and next, for the file upload. Yeah. File upload is an important part, right, in the system. How to doing file upload? First, we need to prepare the folder to save the file that we have uploaded. Of course, you need to put the file inside your project file. Okay. After that, okay, in our form, we must using method post. We cannot using get. Why? Because our file can be shown in the URL. So you need to using post, not get. And we also need using ENC type like this, and the value is multi-part form data. Why? If we don't add this, we can't process the file. So to process the file, make sure the form use method post, and the second that you have shared also you add the attribute enc type multi-part form data. Okay, so that is the two important things. Okay, so this is the example. We can also give a restriction like the file already exists, or the file size is more than that you want, or if you just need to certain file formats. Okay, this is the example of the file. Okay, so we need to make the folder first. The folder you put it here, and you see in here I have folder in here. Okay, and then this is the target path. Target path, it will be get the name of your file. Okay, and name like this with using $_file. Okay. And this is also the default function move upload file. So your file will be copied into this upload folder. Okay, and we also will show echo the file. It is the name of the file. Okay, the name of the file has been uploaded. Okay, and if there is error, it will be showing like this. Okay, so you must write it carefully. Don't forget to add target path in here, and also put this like this. So this is also the default, the file, your file. But for upload, you don't write the name, but TMP name or temporary name. Okay, I will give you upload. Sorry, from upload. Okay, we open it from upload from upload.html here. Because we don't give any restriction, so we can put anything here. For example, I put this docs file and I choose upload file. So the file, this is the name of the file, has been uploaded. And if you see here in our folder, there is the file over there. Okay. Okay, so that's all about uh, our class today. You can continue to code and finish your job sheet. Okay, everyone. Thank you and see you next week.